Hey YouTube, sorry my other video kind of cut off like really quick. But anyway, just to kind of reiterate, my main reasons for not being quite so excited for The Dark Knight Rises. And again, I apologize that this video is coming to you late. Okay, I just don't think it's going to be as good as The Amazing Spider-Man. Mostly, it's like it's all about like advertising. Like, as I said before, Batman is all action, whereas Spider-Man is more about story than anything. And I think that's gonna be the main difference. Is like, which do you prefer, action or story? Which I don't know. Maybe I'm just childish and or immature or something like that. But but I'd rather see a well-written movie as opposed to one that's well choreographed. In terms of fighting. Like if you get one that's both, that's good. The writers for The Dark Knight are just very lazy people. Okay, that's one thing I really want to stress. Because they basically rely on the action. Those movies basically rely on the action sequences, and it's mostly because like the writers. I don't know if it. Like the writers for let's look at The Dark Knight. Not The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight was like why did the whole city end up in chaos when Joker said that he's gonna blow up a hospital? Hello? Throughout the entire movie before that, he's saying, I want Harvey Dent. He's after Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent gets hospitalized, and Joker says, I'm going to blow up a hospital. Duh. Like, they really don't, like, put a whole lot of effort into the writing. And myself being a writer, I'm writing books and I'm hoping to direct movies as a profession, but and that's going to be like in the not too far off future, I would think, but maybe I just got my ego up. But like my main It's all to do with writing, and like, so I look at the writing in movies. I don't really care too much for action sequences. Like, I do, but it's really not, it's not the main thing that I look for. Whereas that's what it is with Batman. It's mainly, he's all about the action. And as it's also like, I don't give a damn what numbers say, okay? Numbers don't mean jack shit to me. They really, like, I don't care how much money these movies have been making. I don't care how many people went to see them, okay? I don't care. I look at quality, not quantity, okay? The only thing that really bothers me about the Amazing Spider-Man movie, and this is one of the reasons I was skeptical, is because, like, there's no Mary Jane Watson in this one. They don't even hint towards her. Like, or that she'll be in the sequel or whatever. No, they don't even mention her at all. Sorry guys, I'm on my laptop right now, so it's... But, like, look at this mess. Look at it. Let's see. So who are the writers? Jonathan Nolan does the screenplay, Christopher Nolan, and 3 more credits. So Jonathan and Christopher Nolan. Let's see who else. Christopher Nolan, David S. Goyer. So David Goyer is one of the problems with it. I don't know. Blade was okay, but that was more. That really wasn't his doing. Bob Kane did he's the original writer of the characters. Christopher Nolan, Jonathan Nolan, and David S. Goyer and Bob Kane. Which, they're just Bob Kane's characters. That doesn't necessarily mean he did anything. I think he's dead now anyway, isn't he? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, this is one of the main reasons, like, I'm actually excited for this. Like, look who one of the writers is. Steve Kloves, people. Or Clovis. Whatever, Steve Kloves, man. That's the guy who did the screenplay for Harry Potter. Like, and that's all of them, actually. Now, you could argue and say that, well, those were based on books. You can't go by that. Well, yeah, that's true, but you know what? Straight up, oh god, without the screenplay, those movies probably wouldn't have done too well. The only movie it was really like Steve Kloves actually kind of slacked off on was the one he was allowed to slack off on. And that was Deathly Hallows Part 2. Like, that's... Like, Steve Kloves that's really great. Now, are 3 movies going to outdo the 7 Harry Potters? No. I don't give a fuck who the hell the superhero is. Bottom line, nah, Batman is not going to outdo Harry Potter, bottom line. Like, you look at how much money all those movies have grossed. Forget it. It ain't gonna happen. Like, they got some really good, like, actors in this movie, too. Like, well, you could argue about Martin Sheen, you know. Being the new Uncle Ben. Like, they don't really hint towards whether or not Uncle Ben dies in this movie or not. But given the story, you kind of don't want that to happen just yet. Like, not really. And the story is, according to Internet Movie Database, that young Parker is basically trying to find out how his parents disappeared. So with a story like that, you kind of don't want Uncle Ben to die, because that's too much drama in your face. So if he survives this movie, that's fine. I'm not gonna like reprimand them for it. I really don't care. But Mark Webb, I'm gonna go in to see. I'm just gonna real quick go into Mark Webb, see what else he's done. Like, he hasn't really directed a whole hell of a lot. But you know what? That doesn't mean, just because somebody is inexperienced, or just because somebody, like, hasn't done a lot, doesn't mean they don't do good. So what if it's somebody's first movie, you know? Halloween was introducing Jamie Lee Curtis. That was her very first movie ever. Does that mean Jamie Lee Curtis is a horrible actress? No. It's really frustrating that, like, people will look at what else these people have done and then say, well, this guy hasn't done anything, that, you know, this guy's just making his first movie, so he sucks, automatic. So he definitely sucks. But this guy's done 20 movies, done like 100 movies, so he's great. Quantity and quality, again. That's the main thing here, is like the writers, okay, poorly written, very poor. So it's writing, quality, and like you gotta, okay, when it comes to the writers, you gotta look at what's actually in the script, what the real story and plot are. Which, by the way, plot and story are two different things. Plot is what happens to the characters, and story is what happens because of the characters. So there's a difference there. You don't get you can't just look at like all the candy, you know, the eye candy special effects and fighting and stuff like that, and action, like what they're doing. It's not, that's really, like, yeah, it's good. It's like, that's what they do. Like, that's kind of, but that's really not in the script. You look at scripts, it's all like dialogue. It's all like like the details are kind of vague and stuff like that. It's up to the director to say, okay, well, this is how it's going to take effect. That's what makes a director either good or bad. Okay? Director that's really good, Tim Burton. Director that really sucks is Ron Howard. I don't really like, he's only got one movie that I actually like, and that's The Grinch. Okay, just to put that out there. And again, it's got, okay, it's, you want to look at how much is actually in the script, the quality of the director, not how much they have done. You know, experience and quality have nothing to do with each other. They really don't. Or they very seldom do. And the third thing is, like, the third thing is really creativity. Like, it's basically the writers and director in collaboration with each other. Did they bring something new? Did it work? Okay, like, the writers can come up with a really cool idea. If the director fails to deliver that idea, the movie fails. If you have a very crappy idea, but it's actually delivered pretty well, then you blame the writer for such a crappy idea, but at least the director did good. You know, the director succeeded where the writer kind of failed. At least he delivered the message, bottom line, you know, and that's that's it. And those are in the words of Francis Coppola, okay? Those of you who don't know, he directed The Godfather. He says, if you have a good message and the smaller details successfully deliver it, you got yourself a successful movie right there. And just to reiterate, I am expecting that The Amazing Spider-Man will be more successful than The Dark Knight Rises. So, on that happy little note, this is Supercharged 425 signing off.